table and try and get a European spot. So the first thing spotted in Arsenal training is the fact that there is a reaction time game where the Gunners will have to try and flip the cone before the other person gets the cone. And you can clearly see we've got a lot of players here. You've got the likes of Party and Gabriel Martinelli working together in this opportunity, and you know that Callum Chambers and Rob Holding, they are very well with each other, and they've got a very strong friendship. We've got the likes of Bukayo Saka and Eddie Nketiah, who all are playing together, and you can clearly see that the Gunners, and especially Mikel Arteta, is making sure that the mindset of the players is right and they are fully focused for the game versus Fulham, because we can clearly see that even if you have fun in games, you can still use that opportunity to check the players' mindset, to check how confident they are. And we clearly see that Alexandre Lacazette, who was playing versus Nicolas Pepe, had a good chance to show his reaction time skills, because a player like Alexandre Lacazette, when you get the one chance to get a split second to score that goal, you need to have very fast reaction time, and he's versing Nicolas Pepe. So Nicolas Pepe was probably thinking, wow, he might have a difficult opponent in the form of Alexandre Lacazette. But it was obviously a fun and games. But at the end of the day, we can clearly see that Mikel Arteta is making sure that the mindset is still right, because as Jose Mourinho once said, if your mindset's not right, your game won't be good. And you can clearly see that Mikel Arteta is making sure they're very good mentally as well. So the next thing spotted is the fact that Gabriel Martinelli and Thomas Partey have a very good relationship, and we can clearly see that in the Arsenal training ground, because all the players are very happy with each other. They're all happy to be there at training. They're all happy to work with each other, and that's something we can clearly see. We got Gabriel Martinelli here, who's maybe 19, 20 years old, on top of Thomas Partey, and he's having a piggy bank. And you can clearly see that you don't have that in certain other teams where the ego is there and you don't see the players having a good relationship with each other. But that's not the same with Mikel Arteta. He has these players playing for each other. They're playing for him as well. And that's good, because we can clearly see that these players are playing for the team, they are playing for the club, and they're playing for the badge. We got here Cedric Soares and Reece Nelson, who are very well together, and that's something that's good, because you got Cedric Soares there, who's very experienced, he's 29 years old, and you got Reece Nelson on the side just giving him a hug as if he's a friend, a family member or something. But you can clearly see the friendship is there, and that's something I see important, because you got the likes of Tottenham, our neighbours. They don't have that relationship with each other, they don't have that bond, there's no family between the team, and that's what something that they lack, and that's why they're losing so many games after having a winning lead. And that's the thing I've seen with the Gunners. They have a good relationship with each other, they're all fighting for each other, and that's something we want to see until the end of the season and hopefully be at a good stage. So the next thing spotted in Arsenal training is the fact that they had an intense stretching session, and you can clearly see that the Gunners will have to stretch out those muscles, because they are playing a lot of matches at the same period, because they play on Sunday, they play on Thursday, they play on Sunday a game. And if you really calculate, that's 3 games per week. And I really do feel sad for these players, because they have to be well mentally, they have to be well physically, and they have to be well when it comes to their healthy well-being. And that's something that the Gunners have been focusing on very well. And you can clearly see that the Gunners, and especially Mikel Arteta, knows that the injuries have been a huge problem for the Gunners, and that's why he is making sure that they have an intense stretching session. And you can clearly see the players, some players like Rob Holding is giving a cheeky smile there, but some players that don't like the stretching part, they just want to play games. And we can clearly see that Mikel Arteta is making sure that he doesn't want any more injuries, because we've got big people out like Martin Odegaard. We got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with the illness situation, which we pretty much can't do anything about with his situation. But you can see that there's a lot of injuries when it comes to the players, and hopefully Mikel Arteta is making sure that these players don't have any more problems with their injuries, because you got Smith Rowe that was very important when it came back, and he knows how important these key players are for the Gunners, and making sure they have an intense training session. So the next thing and final thing spotted in Arsenal training is the fact that Folarin Balogun trains with the first team. You can clearly see that Folarin Balogun is in high spirits, Mikel Arteta is in high spirits, Arsenal fans are in high spirits, because we thought this guy was probably going to be the next Serge Gnabry. But we can clearly see that the Gunners are really happy that this guy has signed a new contract extension. But now you've signed the extension, but it's now time to show it on the pitch. And that's something Mikel Arteta will be wanting to see from Folarin Balogun, because we saw previously in the previous training sessions was the fact that Miguel Aziz was training with the first team, but this time he wasn't training with the first team. You got other like players such as Joe Lopez. All these players were training with the first team, but he's only picked a certain few that always play with the first team. And Folarin Balogun has now been put into there as well, with the likes of Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson. You can even say Bukayo Saka, but he's obviously going to be in the team, and Smith Rowe is also going to be in the team and solidified their spots. But you can clearly see that Folarin Balogun may have the chance due to the fact that maybe because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has contracted malaria and the fact that he cannot play at the moment, so he might need another striker, and that might be a reason as well. But at the end of the day, Folarin Balogun's got the chance to play with the first team and hopefully impress Mikel Arteta to say, look, you've given me an extension, now it's time to give me a run of games in the actual matches. And Mikel Arteta will start to have a selection headache if Folarin Balogun is playing at a high level. So then, these were the 4 things spotted in Arsenal training, and I think that when it comes to Mikel Arteta, he has the players right, in my opinion. They're very good when it comes to their social, mental and physical abilities, in my opinion, because you can clearly see they are very good socially. You see the likes of Gabriel Martinelli and Thomas Partey, the relationship they have. All the players, Lacazette, Nicola Pepe, they all love for each other. That's something I want to see in a team. They have to have charisma, they have to have a cohesion, because you want to fight as a team, you want to die as a team, and you want to be together as a team. And you have to go through the hard times, go through the good times, live it all together. And that's what we can clearly see Mikel Arteta is focusing on. Sometimes I didn't see that in certain other managers, but we can clearly see that that's the main purpose of Mikel Arteta. Physically, they're there with their injuries and stretching. That's something that's important, what Mikel Arteta is doing. And finally, when it comes to having a good physical ability, that's something Mikel Arteta is focusing on, and making sure that they're mentally right as well with the games they're playing, with the mind games, and that's something Mikel Arteta is focusing on as well. But other than that, guys, remain blessed, stay tuned for next video, and peace.